Franklin County Sheriff's Office. Can I help you?
A guy just set a woman on fire.
A guy set what on fire?
A guy just set a woman on fire.
They were going to arrest Michael. I didn't understand.
He knows what he's doing. He's intelligent. He's calculating.
Did Mike spill gas on you?
Yes.
Yes.
Right after that panic-stricken 911 call, the authorities rushed to the scene. Judy was severely burned alive, and there was no way she would survive. When the paramedics arrived, they saw how bad Judy's burns were. 90% of her body was burned. Her skin was charred, and she was in so much pain. They rushed her to the hospital, but the burns were so severe. Judy fell into a coma soon after. The doctors did everything they could, but they knew her chances were slim. Michael Slager kept saying it was all an accident, but the investigation showed something different. It wasn't an accident. It was on purpose. Judy had a lovable soul. Everyone who knew her loved her. She was kind to everyone. Even though she was in so much pain, people remembered her for the love she gave. Judy's family and friends were heartbroken. They couldn't believe what happened to their sweet Judy. They gathered around her in the hospital, holding her hand and talking to her, hoping she could hear them.
And there was nobody that Judy didn't love.
Judy loved spending time with her siblings. She joined local beauty pageants and enjoyed every moment. But then, things changed. The doctors diagnosed her with ovarian cancer. It was a tough battle, but Judy was strong. She managed to conquer the disease. In 2006, the cancer came back. This time, Judy had to undergo a hysterectomy. The surgery was hard, and the recovery was even harder. During her recovery, Judy got addicted to opiates. It started with pain medicine, but her addiction grew. When her insurance ran out, Judy turned to the streets to get heroin.
I was placed on very strong painkillers. I got addicted to them.
And she had told me, Mom, I'm getting addicted to this pain medicine. And I said, Judy, it's fine. Just take them as the doctor prescribes them. I realized that she was a binge user, and she would go and use and self-medicate whatever she needed.
Judy's mom shared this. She saw how addiction took over Judy's life. Judy's relatives did everything they could to support her. They helped her as she fought her addiction. Judy knew she needed to change for her children. She didn't trust herself to take care of them anymore. She made the tough decision to send her 2 daughters to live with their grandmother, Bonnie. Judy then admitted herself to rehab at a place called Parkside. She focused on her recovery for her daughters. It wasn't long before Judy became sober again. She was making great progress. Things seemed to be getting better, but then everything changed when she met Michael Slager. Judy and Michael started dating after meeting. Judy fell head over heels for him, but her family didn't know that Michael, with his neck tattoos, was a criminal. Judy thought she had found love, but her family was worried about her new boyfriend. So it all started with a message on Facebook.
Mike sent me a message on Facebook. Said that he had always had feelings for me and that he loved me.
I was like, he looks like bad news, Judy. Judy said, Mom, you can't judge a book by their cover. And I thought, okay, back off, Bonnie.
Judy's mom, Bonnie, wasn't sure about Michael.
So he began to, I would say, dote her, like just messaging her and just everything I guess a girl wants to read, especially, where Judy was in her life.
Judy met Michael through friends and had no idea who he really was. Michael started doting on her, sending her sweet messages. Judy, feeling vulnerable, liked the attention. It felt good to her at that time in her life. But things started to change quickly.
And she was going to meetings, like 3, 4, 5 meetings a week. They got her on the right track, and now she's living with the girls.
She was doing the best she had ever done. Everything went downhill when Michael came into the picture.
That's when drugs and all that came into play. He bought her drugs, she relapsed, so he had complete control over her.
I don't think that Michael ever did drugs. He definitely preyed on women that had addiction problems.
While dating Michael, Judy's addiction came back. Michael didn't use drugs himself, but he bought them for Judy. This made Judy dependent on him. Their relationship became toxic, full of arguments and fights. Judy tried hard to stay on the right track, going to meetings several times a week. She was doing well until Michael came into the picture. As the months went by, Judy saw Michael's true nature. He started abusing her physically. Judy tried to leave him and run away, but Michael always found her. She hid in hotels and even left her home to escape him.
Judy had called me when he had choked her before, and I can remember her being so scared of him.
She hid in hotels, left her own home.
Judy called the police many times, telling them about the abuse, but Michael was smart. He also called the cops, making himself look like a concerned boyfriend. He painted Judy as the problem, covering his tracks. Judy's situation was dire. She was trapped in a cycle of abuse, trying to get help, but finding it hard to escape Michael's control. The relationship became a nightmare, and Judy was scared for her life. She knew that leaving Michael could be the end for her, but she kept trying to find a way out.
He knows what he's doing. He's intelligent, he's calculating. Near the end of May of 2015, I had a lengthy conversation with Judy. She flat out said that if she left him or he found out about this conversation, that he would kill her. And then the call disconnected after that.
So after that, no one heard Judy's pleas or understood her situation until August 2nd, 2015. On that day, Judy's mom got a call that changed everything.
I got that phone call. Are you Judy Malinowski's mom? And I remember thinking, what a strange question. And they said, this was the hospital and we have your daughter, that I should come now.
Judy was trying to avoid her boyfriend, Michael Slager. That fateful day, he saw her while driving. He stopped his truck and tried to get her inside, but she refused. The situation escalated quickly. It was life or death for Judy. She knew if she got in that truck, she might not come out alive. But Michael wouldn't leave her alone, so he poured gasoline on her and lit her on fire. During the fire, Michael's hand got burned a little bit. They both ended up at the same hospital, but Michael had already made up a different story. He told the authorities that he leaned in to light a cigarette for Judy and that it was an accident. When Judy's mom, Bonnie, rushed to the hospital to see her, the first person she saw was Michael, lying in a hospital bed. Bonnie had no idea what had happened to her daughter. She only knew Judy was burned and needed life support. A nurse helped Bonnie down to the trauma bay, but as they made their way to Judy's bed, Bonnie took the wrong turn.
I went past Michael's room. I went in there and I was like, Michael, where's Judy? Where is Judy? I'll never forget it. He looked at me and he said, it was an accident. It was an accident.
Bonnie didn't understand why police officers surrounded Michael's bed. Before she could ask any questions, an officer shuffled her out of the room. When Bonnie finally arrived at Judy's side, nothing could prepare her for what she saw.
All I can remember is I just started screaming, tell me there's hope, tell me there's hope, tell me there's hope. And they wouldn't tell me there was hope. They wouldn't say anything.
Judy, 31 years old, was burned on more than 90% of her body. She was unrecognizable. Bonnie's heart broke seeing her daughter in such a state. Judy lay in a coma, barely holding on to life.
We have an equation which is based on the patient's age and percent burn. In Judy's case, she was 31 and approximately 80% burned, so that made her like 110% mortality.
Just a few feet away, Michael Slager sat on a bed with burns on his hands. The story he told the cops raised questions about what really happened. As Judy fought for her life, the police began their investigation. They needed to understand the truth of what led to this horrific event. Michael's story didn't add up, and the evidence pointed to something much darker. Judy's family hoped for justice as they stayed by her side, praying for her recovery.
I've seen plenty of burns to her degree. I can't say I've seen many that have survived.
Judy was my firstborn. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was the happiest time of my life. And she was just my best friend.
So after that, the police needed to get to the bottom of what really happened. Michael told them a story. He said Judy filled up the truck with gas and accidentally spilled some on herself. Then he claimed he went to light a cigarette for her, and that's when she suddenly caught fire. His story made it seem like it was all a terrible accident. With Judy's side of the story, the investigators were left pondering if Michael might be telling the truth. But the truth was much darker. Judy was not Michael's first victim. He had a history of outsmarting the police and escaping justice.
He has theft, domestic violence, menacing, aggravated menacing, making a false police report, domestic violence, aggravated menacing, assault, aggravated menacing, domestic violence, assault, domestic violence, assault, domestic violence, endangering children, domestic violence, endangering children, rape, which was, I think, pled down to a sexual battery.
Only Judy could finally put him away forever, but her survival was uncertain. The police didn't believe Michael's story completely, so they needed to hear from Judy before it was too late.
We were playing the delay game. It sounds terrible, but we were basically waiting for Judy to die so that we could charge Mr. Slager with the homicide. And we got a call one day that she was awake.
The investigators decided to bring Judy out of her artificial coma. This was a difficult decision because it meant Judy would feel pain again.
Okay, are you hurting right now? Okay, all right. Would you mind if someone asked you a couple questions about what happened? Stay calm, Jude. Stay calm, baby.
I remember leaning in to talk to her. I don't even know if she can hear me.
Judy, this is Dr. Bill Hagan with Gahanna. Can you hear me? Can't. Judy, did you spill gas on yourself? No. Did Mike spill gas on you? Yes. Yes? Okay.
When Judy woke up, she managed to nod twice, showing that she could hear and understand the people around her.
We were concerned with Judy passing and us not getting anything on the record. I wanted Judy's voice to be heard as quickly as possible. Doctors and nurses are looking at you like, do you want to bring this person out of sedation?
Lift her arm. Judy, can you hear me?
The small but powerful response gave the police the information they needed to move forward with their investigation.
I'm going to start by asking you your name.
Judy Malinowski.
Do you know how many surgeries you've had?
Over 50.
And you're aware that you have coded 7 times, correct?
Yes.
You understand the prognosis is not good, correct?
No.
But you're fighting against it, right?
Yes.
With this new information, the police went to Michael's room and charged him with felonious assault and aggravated arson.
And the police said that they were going to arrest Michael. I didn't understand.
So what, am I under arrest or something?
Right now, yeah, you are under arrest.
What am I being charged with?
You're going to be charged with felonious assault and aggravated arson.
Michael didn't know that the entire scene was recorded by a nearby ATM machine. The investigators had watched the footage and knew what really happened. While Michael's attorney tried to defend him, the doctors focused on saving Judy's life. Burn victims with such severe injuries usually don't survive more than a few days. But Judy was different. Month after month, she held on, going through endless operations. Her strength amazed everyone. Meanwhile, her mother stayed by her side, not knowing if Judy would ever wake up.
Let me just be direct with you too, Mike, okay? So we saw exactly what happened. We saw you pour gasoline over top of her head. She stumbles to the ground. You lean over and light her on fire. We saw what happened. We know what happened.
That's not the way it looks. We're arguing. She threw pop on my face, and then we was going back and forth with it. And when she come in and spit in my face, and I said, "Oh, well, here, you want to ruin my stuff?" I said, "Here, boom, I'm gonna ruin your clothes." It wasn't to start her on fire or nothing. You know what I mean? It was just to ruin her clothes.
Right, yeah.
So we knew right away that he had lied to us.
He had made several statements about how the gasoline got on Judy. And then he developed from there. Okay, I panicked, I lied about that, I shouldn't have. But she took her sweatshirt off, and it didn't even occur to me that there would still be gas there.
Here's my attorney.
In this case, where I thought that there was some doubt, was to whether he knowingly caused serious physical harm.
I still have trouble understanding that someone could do that to another human being.
The police charged Michael, but Judy's family felt it wasn't enough. They wanted justice for Judy. Against all odds, Judy woke up from her coma. She was confused and terrified. She had no memory of what happened after the fire. Judy worried about Michael, fearing what he might do next. She didn't know that Michael had shown no remorse for his actions and didn't care about her well-being.
It had to be explained to her that Mr. Slager was in jail. I remember her being emotional about that. She actually felt bad for Mike at that point.
Judy's recovery was slow and painful. She faced many surgeries and countless hours of physical therapy. Her family supported her every step of the way, but the fear of Michael lingered. Judy knew she had to be strong, not just for herself, but for her daughters and for her family. So after that, in the spring of 2016, Judy finally woke up in the hospital. For the first time since the attack, Judy's daughters and her siblings would get to see her. They knew it would be a shock to see Judy in her condition, but they were ready to support her.
When I walked in, I definitely was like, that's not my mom. You just don't believe that that's who they're telling you it is.
No surgery was in the hospital bed. And the surgery said everything will be alright. And when she asked me for a hug, I said, no, you're hurt. I don't want her to get hurt.
Bonnie, Judy's mom, was thrilled that Judy was awake, but Judy's battle was far from over. In December 2016, the trial began. Since Judy was still alive, Michael was only charged with aggravated arson and felonious assault. He continued to claim it was all an accident. Judy knew the truth, but the defense thought she couldn't testify because of her condition. They entered a plea of not guilty, hoping Michael would escape justice without Judy's testimony. But then Judy's condition improved. She became more alert and aware. This might be Judy's only chance to testify. If she survived, Michael might escape the murder charge. But if she died, her testimony would be on the record, and Michael could be charged with murder.
She wanted to tell her story. I think she wanted somebody to finally listen to her.
Every day, Judy fought to survive. It had been over a year since the attack, and she faced a long and painful recovery. Michael's sentencing came as a shock to Judy. She didn't feel she got the justice she deserved, but Judy kept going, driven by her love for her daughters. They were her strength and her reason to keep fighting. As Judy's condition improved, she prepared to testify. It was a critical moment. Her words would ensure that Michael faced the full consequences of his actions. The defense knew that Judy's testimony could turn the case against Michael.
You previously entered not guilty plea and pleading a no contest plea in this matter.
Correct, Your Honor.
Slager changed his plea from not guilty to no contest, and that way he avoided a trial and she was not able to testify.
He silenced her again. There's nothing we could do. What are you going to do?
The Gahanna woman doused with gasoline and set on fire. She will never get the chance to testify against her ex in court.
And the judge sentenced him to 11 years in jail.
The maximum sentence Michael could receive for dousing her in gasoline and lighting her on fire was 11 years, which is very similar to the penalty you would receive for lighting a car on fire.
Judy has a life sentence, and her children have a life sentence, and with domestic violence, it's ugly, it's cruel.
Mrs. Bose was correct when she said this girl has a life sentence. And you've done it, and you haven't been sorry. You've done all the things that really show what a despicable individual you are. You really do seem like one of those people that have no soul, and you need to be incarcerated. That's all I have to say. Take him out.
Judy's daughters watched their mother with pride. They saw her bravery and knew how much she loved them. Judy's fight was not just for herself, but for her family. She wanted to protect them and ensure Michael could never hurt anyone again. It was a long and difficult process. Judy faced many challenges, but she never gave up. Her family and friends supported her every step of the way. They knew Judy's strength and believed in her fight for justice.
There was this part of her that wanted to make it and to live, to fight for every other woman that had been through something like that. And she was willing to do whatever she needed to do to help change the law.
Judy's law would increase the maximum sentence for intentionally disfiguring someone by up to 20 years. It's named after Judy Malinowski, who is still fighting to stay alive after being set on fire a year and a half ago.
The law would not be retroactive, meaning it won't have any impact on her case. Still, Judy continues to fight for other survivors of domestic violence.
Doctors say they really have no medical explanation as to how she is still alive, but Judy's mom, Bonnie Bose, says she believes that Judy is fighting to see Judy's law through to the very end.
All Judy wanted to do was help people. She fought so hard to help people and for justice.
This is a miracle that she survived that with her spirit intact, her will to want to help other people intact. I just think her body was giving out before her spirit.
So after that, Judy's condition continued to worsen. It became clear that she would likely die very soon. Judy remained bedridden, and the doctors focused on making sure she felt the least amount of pain possible. Bonnie, her mother, stayed by her side the entire time. Letting her child go would be the hardest struggle yet. As it was clear that Michael was successful in evading justice, prosecutors approached Judy and Bonnie with an idea.
And that's when they approached Judy about testifying to her own homicide. It was a long shot because it had never been done. Nobody had ever testified to their own homicide in the United States.
But there was a caveat. For Judy to have all her mental capacities, she would have to be taken off pain medication. Judy knew this would be incredibly painful.
It hurts so bad. I don't want to do it. I have to.
Bonnie was worried about whether Judy could handle it.
As a mother, you know your child, where was her limitation? Could she do this, even though her intentions were good?
Judy Malinowski will be allowed to testify about her own death in the trial of her accused killer.
The case that's drawn national attention.
This would be the first time that a victim was allowed to testify from the grave in a murder case.
She said, "Mom, I know I haven't endured this much pain in vain."
Judy Malinowski would be allowed to testify about her own death in the trial of her accused killer. The case drew national attention. This would be the first time a victim was allowed to testify from a dying bed in a murder case. Judy said to her mom, "I know I haven't endured this much pain in vain." Judy was ready.
Tell me your name and that you're ready to testify.
My name is Judy Malinowski, and I am ready to testify on Thursday.
All right.
Even though Judy was tired of fighting and in pain, she didn't tell her mom she wanted to give up. She knew how much it would hurt Bonnie.
I think Judy expressed being tired of fighting and in pain, but she would not say to me, "Mom, I want to give up. I want to stop," because she knew what that would do to me.
After nearly 60 surgeries and 2 years in the hospital, Judy moved to a care facility and stopped getting medical treatment. There was no sign that she would be okay, or it was already impossible to heal from that condition. All her internal organs were damaged, so the only way to ease her pain was to stop the medication and let her die.
Judy Malinowski's mom, Bonnie Bose, told me in an interview Tuesday her daughter's body can't take much more.
So they asked me to sign these papers, and I said, "No, I will not sign these hospice papers." She said, "Mom, I will." And she put an X. And I know Judy, because Judy would have normally tried to do a J, and she just put an X and handed it back. I said, "Okay, Judy, I'll hold your hand until Jesus takes the other."
Judy Malinowski died on June 27, 2017, having survived for nearly 700 days.
Today, I lost someone very important to me, my sister Judy. And she was my favorite sister for a very long time.
She left behind her 2 young daughters, her siblings, and her mother.
Well, a new chapter in one family's long fight for justice.
LA prosecutor Ron O'Brien calls this case unprecedented. Slager is now charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated murder.
He could get the death penalty if he is found guilty.
In the meantime, Michael Slager prepared for his trial. He had no intention this time of pleading guilty. His lawyers tried hard to keep Judy's testimony out of the trial. Once again, they wanted to silence Judy.
We'll fight like heck to keep that testimony of the victim excluded from any jury trial.
So after that, Bonnie felt furious. If the court didn't accept Judy's deposition, all the pain she went through to give her testimony would mean nothing.
She went to her grave thinking that she did justice, and she told her story.
Michael's attorney argued that the entire procedure was unconstitutional. Now, only a judge could decide if Judy's voice would be heard. A criminal defendant's right to confrontation is crucial. But in this case, Michael had the chance to confront Judy. It was a potential historic decision. The judge's ruling made Judy the state's first murder victim to testify at her killer's trial.
A criminal defendant's right to confrontation is of paramount importance. But the defendant in this case did have an opportunity to confront the accuser.
Thank you, God.
A potential historic decision.
Today's judge's ruling makes her the state's first murder victim to testify at her killer's trial.
New hope for Judy Malinowski's family that not only justice will be served in her death, but that her own voice will be heard in court.
On July 5th, 2018, the courtroom prepared to view Judy Malinowski's 3-hour testimony. Judy's mother, Bonnie, was there. So were her daughters, Kaylin and Madison. No one had seen or heard that video and hearing since it was filmed behind closed doors. They all waited anxiously to see Judy tell her story. When the moment arrived, they played her recorded testimony in court.
Could you please raise your right hand to the extent that you possibly can?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this deposition will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as you shall answer to God or under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you.
Now, Sunday, August 2nd, 2015. Do you recall that day?
August 2nd, 2015, yes, I do.
So when you were with Mr. Slager, you indicated that the two of you stopped at Speedway. What did you stop there for?
To get cigarettes. We were arguing back and forth. Either one of us were very happy with each other.
While he went inside, you got out of the truck and went behind that Speedway. What happened as you stood behind that Speedway?
Well, Mike came in a matter of no time at all around in his truck. He saw me and immediately slammed the truck to the park, got out, demanded that I got into the truck with him, called me all sorts of names. We argued for a good 5 to 10 minutes, and then I threw my pop on him.
You threw a pop on him?
Yes, he was extremely upset. He ran around to the other side of his truck, and he got his cans of gasoline that he had kept in the back of his truck. He ran around to me and started pouring gasoline. Started up my head and worked his way down. Some got in my throat as he did that.
What's his demeanor as he's pouring the gasoline on
you? Evil, just completely evil. He's not responding to any of my cries for help. Like, you want to throw a cop on me? See what I'll do to you, bitch. And how do you like this? I looked at him and he pulled a lighter out of his pocket and he started walking towards me. And I just remember crying and begging for help. And he let me on fire, and the look in his eyes went back, literally. I thought for sure I was dying. I just prayed to Jesus to please forgive me for my sins and to take care of my children.
Did you at any time produce a cigarette and ask for a light?
No.
Okay. A matter of fact, did you have any cigarettes on you?
No.
Judy shared her side of the story, but her fight wasn't over. The defense now had the chance to cross-examine her, trying to make her seem unreliable. They dug into her past, bringing up her addiction and questioning her judgment. Despite their efforts, Judy stood strong, pushing back as best she could, even as she grew weaker. For 3 hours, they questioned her. Her mother couldn't interrupt her or check if she was okay. The question remained, would her testimony be enough to get justice for Judy?
3 hours of questioning. I couldn't interrupt. I couldn't knock on the door and see if she was okay. And when I went in there, she just grabbed me as best she could. And her entire burned body just shook.
The prosecutors and her family pushed for the death penalty. Michael had shown no remorse and only cared about saving himself. But before the trial ended, the court listened to one more clip of Judy that could play a crucial role in Michael's sentence. In that clip, Judy asked the judge to sentence Michael to life in prison. Judy didn't seek vengeance. She proved to everyone that, despite everything she endured, she was nothing like Michael. She fought for what she believed until her last breath.
Judy, I would just like you to state here, if you were to die from your injuries and Mr. Slager were to be convicted of having done that, I want you to tell a future judge what you want to see happen to Mr. Slager.
I would like to see him charged with murder and do a life sentence. I think that he deserves that.
She didn't believe in the death penalty. And while I very much think Michael Slager deserved to die for what he did, I think she had the right to tell the judge what penalty she wanted.
Michael was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison. He avoided the death penalty, but he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. Judy got her wish.
Sir, what's your plea to one count of aggravated murder without the capital specification?
Guilty.
You understand that it is a complete admission of guilt in this case?
Yes, sir.
You will spend the rest of your natural life incarcerated.
Malinowski gets her wish. Slager avoids the death penalty, but will go to prison for life.
I'm so proud of her, and I know one day I'll see her.
Judy's courage and determination left a lasting impact. She showed incredible strength and resilience. Her fight for justice not only honored her own suffering, but also gave hope to other victims. Judy's legacy lives on, inspiring others to stand up and fight for what is right. After the testimony ended, the room remained silent for a moment. The weight of Judy's words hung in the air. Bonnie and her family felt a mix of emotions: pride, sorrow, and a glimmer of hope. They knew Judy had given everything she had to seek justice. Judy's story didn't end with the trial. Her legacy continued to inspire others. Bonnie and her family shared her story, raising awareness about domestic violence and the importance of speaking out. They honored Judy's memory by helping other victims find their voice and seek justice. Judy Malinowski's fight for justice showed the power of resilience and determination. Despite the pain and suffering, she stood up for what was right. Her bravery left a lasting impact on her family, her community, and the nation.
My mom taught me that you could stand up to anybody.
An emotional day at the State House where two young girls say they will fight to carry on their mother's legacy.
Her daughter, Kaylin, took a brave step to ensure that no other family would go through the same pain. She decided to address the Senate to push for a new law in her mother's name. Kaylin, though young, stood tall and strong in front of the Senate. She spoke from the heart, sharing her mother's story and the devastating impact of domestic violence. She talked about Judy's bravery and the incredible pain she endured.
A brave young girl stood up for her mother. Kaylin Malinowski testified before a Senate committee.
Hello, Mr. Chairman and Senate Committee. My name is Kaylin Malinowski. I am Judy's daughter. Please pass my mom's law, because together we can prevent this from happening to other families.
If the bill passes, her memory will live on through Judy's law,
We know that our mommy did not suffer in vain.
extending the sentence by 6 years for cases like Judy's where an accelerant like gas is used.
I think it's the first step towards what her legacy should and will be.
House, prepare, proceed to vote.
Well, today, every representative said yes.
She was really brave. I admire her strength, and I definitely hope that that strength lives on through me.
Judy's law became a symbol of hope and change. It showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, one person's courage could make a difference. Kaylin's efforts honored her mother's legacy and helped protect others from suffering the same fate. Judy's family continued to advocate for victims' rights, spreading awareness and offering support to those in need. They knew that Judy's fight wasn't just about one person. It was about creating a safer and more just world for everyone. In the end, Judy Malinowski's story is one of courage, resilience, and a relentless fight for justice. Despite the unimaginable pain and suffering she endured, Judy stood strong, determined to make her voice heard. As we remember Judy Malinowski, we honor a woman who showed that even in the face of darkness, love and courage can bring about real change. Her story will continue to inspire and protect, ensuring that her memory remains a powerful force for good. Thank you for watching. If you found this story moving and want to see more content like this, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support helps us share important stories like Judy's. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video to spread the message. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.